And Basil pipes up and says, Brother Arik has been spreading the word of Osprey to the faraway deserts of Romneus. And this, you see Harmon look very pleased. And Harper just turns over to Harmon and goes, ah! And Harmon says, he says he's been spreading the word of Osprey to Romneus. And Harper looks at you and says, do they have an ocean yet?
I love it. I love it.
No, they do not. It's all desert over there. Still, I'm a little taken aback by the "yet" comment.
I don't recall any churches in the desert. What use do they have for fish?
It's not. Well, it's not just about fish, and it's not.
Ah!
I love this guy.
Forgive me, but it is not just about fish. I speak up a little louder.
Okay.
It's more about giving, and I start to hopelessly explain the situation in Udok's village about slaves and how they really have nothing and they're just treated horribly. And
halfway through the explanation, you see Harper kind of lull forward a little bit. He's nodding off.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And when Harmon notices this, he kind of nudges the old man and he jolts back up in his seat. Says, ah, yes! And he looks over at Harmon's. What spell do I cast today? Harmon says, no, he hasn't paid for a spell, High Priest. He's a brother of Osprey. He's been doing works across the ocean. Harper looks back at you. Says, in Romneus.
Sorry. My phone beeped.
And he asks you, works in Romneus.
Yeah.
I didn't think they had an ocean. Do they have an ocean yet?
Sorry.
And it's going to continue along like this for as long as you allow it. Harmon and Basil are very patient with Harper. And they do what they can to make him understood and make sure that he understands you, but it's going to continue along in this vein.
It's going to be, I'm sure it is. And
this guy.
Arik is trying his best to repress that sailor impatience inside of him. But because he is a cleric now, and he's cleric of Osprey, and he's in the temple of Osprey. But there's this as the conversation goes on, he says things just a little louder and with a little bit more force. And even though he knows full well that this is going to be very futile very quickly.
When Harmon starts to pick up a little bit on your frustrations, he pipes up and says, we thank you again, brother, for your kind donation, and we're looking forward to the sermon that you're scheduled to give about your adventures across the sea this Friday during the service.
Yes.
He looks back over at Harper, and he says, but now there's the matter of the young woman who came to be healed. You were going to cast the healing, a healing spell on her. And Harper, I don't think I prayed for that one today. And at this, Harmon and Harper get up and they slowly leave the room, arguing between themselves about whether or not he prayed for this particular healing spell or not. And then Basil, when they're gone, Basil stands up, says, well, I apologize if that wasn't as enlightening as you had hoped. But Harper is well loved in the town. He's a great priest. He's done great works for us for many years and done the works of Osprey in this town since time immemorial.
I turn to Basil and I flatly say to him, do you need a healing spell cast?
And he looks a little bit sheepish. Says, from time to time, it does transpire that someone comes to the church for healing, and the high priest, in the condition that he is, forgets which spells he's supposed to pray for. He says, we had, between you and I, as brothers of the church, we had a very unfortunate incident once where he was meant to dispel a magical enchantment on a lockbox that somebody had brought, and instead filled the room with bees. It was very, very embarrassing.
What I think is, what is a priest of the sea god doing, knowing spells about throwing bees?
What spell is that?
For some reason, what's the actual name of the spell? Let me check here.
Summon bees. It's Oprah's favorite.
No, this is an actual priest spell. Insect plague is a spell that you can get. That's a priest spell. And
a priest spell?
And that's why in NetHack, priests surround you with bees.
Oh, is that why?
Yes, okay. Because for some reason, insect plague has been a priest spell since first edition D&D.
Well, biblically, there were swarms.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Now that
that's
McClain
the same thinking behind whatchamacallit, Sticks to Snakes.
Yeah,
Nodal and I have had an argument about Sticks to Snakes before.
He's not a wizard, Nick.
Stop it, both of you.
All right.
Stop it, both of you, or you're gonna go in timeout.
What does timeout consist of in D&D exactly?
Yeah, he says that there was an injury on one of the farms yesterday, and a woman came and paid to have a priest cast a healing spell on her young son, and that she's waiting downstairs now. But apparently the priest did not pray for any healing magic today.
I look at where Harper left, sort of sigh, and I say, "Lead the way."
And Basil looks very relieved at your offer to help. There's actually rules in this module, like if somebody pays for a spell, there's an X% chance that Harper's not going to pray for that spell. It's here in the module. I didn't make that up.
I love it.
It's
I'm going to read this module after this session.
No, I wouldn't read it right away, because it sounds like we've got another session here, so...
We might. This might go 2 sessions. So, you go back downstairs. We haven't even gotten to the story of the module yet. You're still exploring the town. You go back downstairs, and yeah, the woman's there. She's got her 12-year-old son, and his leg is bound up. And she removes the bindings for you. Well, first there's a little trepidation because, you know, she paid the high priest to cast the spell. And Basil says, well, no, unfortunately Harper's not feeling well today, but our traveling brother Arik here is more than capable of seeing to your son. And it's not a huge wound. It's like, looks like someone whacked him with a hoe or something. He just has a gash on his leg. So it's the kind of thing that if it's not treated, it might fester.
Okay, well...
watch out for those
Cure Light Wounds would take care of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I cast Cure Light Wounds on it, and then...
And the wound seals up and smells a little fishy.
Good.
There's a little wet and salty there when you close it up. And the boy looks like he's never seen the magic work before. Like, he's heard about it, but he's never seen it work. And the mother is very, very glad for the service. Like, she falls over thanking you, and... Eventually, Basil sends the two of them away, and Basil again gives you his gratitude for stepping in.
It's you know, it's you know it.
So this is
I'm stammered. I can't because
this is the sad state of the high priest. I mean, when you were a young boy, when the high priest used to come to the capital. I mean, obviously he was old, but he was not yet in this condition. He's much more advanced now.
Sort of stunned that the high priest is still here, and he's in such a state, but I take my healing duties seriously, and I'm more than happy to step in where Harper seems to be unable to.
Okay.
He says with much disbelief.
Is there anything else you want to do at the church this morning?
I'm gonna pray for a little bit before I head back to the inn and start fretting about
pray for the high priest to gain his marbles back.
Osprim, if you can hear me.
Osprim's not real. Gods are a lie.
No.
Zook, you went to the blacksmith.
I did.
Let me get the blacksmith up on screen here.
Yes, tell me his entire inventory.
Not a map, but every major building in the city has an entry in this module.
Every bit and bob that's in there.
Yeah.
how many hats?
In the blacksmith, probably not many.
How many
Does
helmets?
he
How many
have a
helmets?
bucket that he can stick over his head so he can steal everything?
Actually, it looks like I don't have an entrance for the blacksmith here. I have some information here, but
Bitch, please.
They just assumed that the PCs would be more interested in hats than they were in armor.
clearly.
Clearly.
The 70s were a different time, guys. Come on now.
So yeah, you go to the blacksmith shop, and stone frame building. You walk in. There's an open hearth, an anvil in one corner of the building, and a very short, gruff-looking man is working at the anvil. He's wearing his heavy apron. His head is wreathed with red hair and sweat. And he's hammering out some manner of weapon when you enter. And when you do enter, he looks up, sees you, doesn't say anything. It's kind of weighing the size of you and wondering whether or not you could actually carry any of what he makes.
Do I see any interesting inventory, or is it all
You
pretty
do.
basic stuff? Okay.
You see 4 flails, 4 hammers, 4 morning stars, 4 iron-tipped quarterstaves, and 100 sling bullets for sale.
But no +1 rapiers.
You don't see any bladed weapons of any kind.
Well, is there like a counter that the hearth is behind, or is it just sort of open?
No, it's just an open room.
All right. Well, I approach the blacksmith and I greet him and tell him I'm interested in maybe commissioning a weapon if he can make me one.
What kind of weapon are you currently carrying on you? Like, what are you displaying?
I openly have a rapier at my belt and a short bow and quiver slung over my shoulder. Sort of how I go about. And I have daggers, but they'd be sort of like in my cloak.
He spins you around, takes a look at the bow, the rapier. Says, for arrows, I could point you to a good Fletcher. This is the sword there. I don't have the skill to make something like that. But let me show you what I can do. And he seems to be very friendly towards you. He gives you the impression that he wants to help you, even though you like, he knows what's better for you more than you do. Like,
You said he was short. Is he a dwarf or just a short dude?
no, he's just a short dude.
Okay,
He's
so
not
he's
a
still
dwarf.
taller than
He's,
me.
he's a man.
Racist.
And he walks over, pulls a flail down off the wall, hands it down to you, and says, "Here, feel the weight of that. Give that a swing." And it's a fucking flail, dude. You're not
Yeah,
used to
I'm imagining it's probably about as fucking heavy as I am, and I have -2 strength, so can I even pick this thing up?
You could wield it with 2 hands if you really wanted to.
I politely say, I say, that's very nice, but I don't think it's quite what I'm looking for.
He strokes his beard a little bit, puts the flail back on the wall. He says, "I've got something else we could..." He goes and gets one of the quarterstaves, and he holds it out. This thing's 8 feet long. He says, "Cut this off about 5/8, put a tip on the end of it. That'll be a good size for you. Give him a thump with that."
And again, I take it and I weigh it and I look like I'm considering it, but I politely say, again, I don't think that's quite right for my stature. I really am comfortable with the short sword I have, with the rapier I have.
He looks a little like hurt, a little bit, like he wasn't able to help you. Mostly, I make the weapons for guards up at the castle. They make do with the blunts here. So I've made some swords. Don't have any now. So you show him the rapier. Like this rapier that you have would be beyond his skill level.
Okay.
But he explains he could probably make a short sword. Just a basic, simple iron short sword.
I think I could wield it, but it would be a strength weapon, right?
Short sword, I believe, is finesse. It wouldn't have any...
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is. You might want to double check that.
But he could make me like a +1 or anything.
No, he can't do anything magical.
You're a semi-pirate now. You can make a scimitar.
But he asks,
Short sword is finesse, yes.
as you're considering it, he asks, you came in on the Adric's honor. The boat sitting out at the dock.
I did.
Ah, so you're an adventurer. That's why you're here buying weapons.
Always like to keep myself well defended while we're out and about.
Okay. Do you negotiate with him for a short sword?
No, that's not going to be helpful.
No.
He mentioned would you say the Felcher?
Fletcher. Yeah, Felcher. That's what he said. Jesus Christ.
He doesn't like that Fletcher at all, really.
Hold on, I think I have a banana I can spin.
Oh, no. Well, but he tells you, if there are any men on that ship looking for new arms, you send them over to Gilmy the weaponsmith.
I tell him that I absolutely will, and that there are men larger than I who may find better use of his weapons. Unfortunately, small stature. His things appear to be for the more full-grown variety.
And most of what he's got on display here are just very basic quarry that he gives to the.
Yeah, I'm totally being polite at this point. It doesn't sound like nothing's going to be any more useful. Now, what information did he give me about arrows? I don't know if that's going to.
Sure.
He says that a Fletcher can make them for you. The Felcher, yeah.
Where's the Fletcher at?
That would be building number 43. Is a Bowyer and Fletcher.
All right. I mean, I don't really need it, but I might as well check it out at some point. Probably not immediately.
Okay. As you're leaving,
okay, here it comes.
Man's coming up the road from the direction of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the man that I described to Arik earlier. So he's tall but thin, with brown hair, big bushy mustache on his face. And he sees you and he notices you immediately. And he makes his way up to you. And he starts making conversation. He introduces himself as Karn. He says he's the rope maker in town. And he says he might have something you'd be interested to see.
I'm friendly but a little cautious. I kind of ask him, how do you know me? I'm sorry.
In Thieves' Cant, he's telling you to come by the rope maker's shop.
Okay.
That is this shop over here, 42.
And I ask him, does he want me to follow him now or come there later in the evening, or what does he say?
He says he conducts his business all day, closes down at nightfall.
I'm just asking. Did you want me to come after close, or did you want me to come during business? Like, what manner of business?
Anytime during the day is fine.
Anytime during the day.
Yeah.
I tell him I will be there sometime in the afternoon.
Okay.
Make that probably my afternoon action after I grab some lunch or something. I don't know.
Okay, and that's everybody's morning. So what is everybody's afternoon action?
Arik is going back to the inn and starting to freak out about his sermon he has to deliver.
Tarin is going to go and try and buy supplies for Arvin to make more healing potions to refill the herbalist kit.
Do you have lunch at the inn, Arik?
Sure.
Eldove asks you how the priest at the church seemed, since he has business there later.
I sigh and roll my eyes. It's bad. It's bad.
Let me check and see if there's an alchemist shop in this town. You actually have quite a good stock of alchemy equipment right now because you stopped at the island on your way over.
Oh, okay.
And they were happy to give you whatever you need. But I'm pretty sure there is an alchemist shop in town if you'd like to have an encounter there. Yeah, number 48 is an alchemist shop.
Sure, I'll bring Evander if I'm actually going to an alchemist.
Okay. Orphan, what were you doing?
I'm gonna walk along the waterfront, see what there's here down or at the end of town.
And what's Khalil doing?
Khalil is heading back along this way, back toward the inn, I guess.
What are you going to spend the afternoon doing now?
Well, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna kind of explore the town as well. Just kind of wander about, check out that castle up that way. Not really approach it. Just look at it for a little while and just keep looking around.
Okay.
Probably going along this road right here. Down along this road. Explore the town.
Anyone that's around for I don't know who all was going for lunch. It sounded like Eldove and Arik.
Now, they don't serve a midday meal. I mean, you could buy one. They could probably whip you something up, but they don't serve one.
Okay. Well, I was going to say Zook was going to pass along, you know, hey, I told the blacksmith I'd tell you guys. But
where do people eat for lunch then?
Anywhere else in town? At their houses or places of business? Or
there's no, like, nowhere else that...
I mean, you could, like I said, you could go to the inn and order a meal and they would cook you some fish or give you the morning's bread or whatever they made, but...
Some fish sounds good.
Okay. Is that where Eldove's going?
Yes.
Okay. Because right now you're standing on 18.
Well, I mean, I didn't think it was going to be a whole thing.
Oh.
Just...
Oh, this is your afternoon action. This is what
No. This was after lunch. I
go
to the church.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
What do you do at the church?
I ask to who's in charge of the operations of the winery.
The operations of the winery will be overseen by Harmon. But Harmon doesn't meet you. Basil meets you. Harmon's a little over your pay grade, as far as anybody here knows. And so, yeah.
Do I know that?
Harmon is the canon at the church. He like, runs the place.
No, but I mean, like, do I know I'm being shunned to an underling?
You're not really being shunned to an underling. It's just that nobody here knows what your business is yet.
Okay.
So Basil's like he's the first face that you would see. And so when you come in, like I described to Arik earlier, there are some townsfolk in here saying some prayers. The groundskeeper, Lothar, is working out in the gardens as you come in. And he looks at you and you see mistrust on his face. And he quickly turns away from you. You enter the church, and yes, Basil greets you. Says, "Good morning." No, this is afternoon now. Good afternoon.
I say good afternoon back, and I say I spoke to the proprietor of the winery here, and he said I should speak to you about perhaps expanding your trade.
And you see his face kind of light up a little bit. He says, "Ah, yes. I know that we've been looking to expand into other regions, but the question of shipping the goods, of actually traversing the terrain is so dangerous. So you have a solution for us."
I tell him that I'm currently... wait, I thought the guy at the winery wanted to, like, set up, like, a second actual orchard.
Well, what he's looking to do is just take the wine that they make here and ship it elsewhere.
Okay, I tell him that I'm currently on a ship here from... We were last in Kiska, and I would be interested to take a load of it myself, and then if that sold well, then we could speak about more regular shipments that I would provide for.
And Basil nods. He says, if you can wait a few moments, you'd want to speak with the canon about this.
Alright.
And he vanishes upstairs for a few minutes. 10-15 minutes later, he comes back down with Harmon, the canon. He says, "I understand you're here to purchase some of our wine and take it with you on your vessel and sell it in lands abroad."
I say yes, and I introduce myself again.
He says, "That would do good to put our name out there, to spread the wine of Garrett into other places. The question still remains, how would we set up a regular trade route? You're from Dunfoss?"
Dunfoss, yes.
He nods. Says, "Yeah, shipping to Dunfoss, the expense of it to hire arms along the road to waylay vagabonds and orcs and whatnot." Says, "But you have a ship."
I say yes. At the moment, I'm merely an officer on a ship right now, but I believe the captain would be well amenable to bring the first shipment along, and then after that, I have reason to believe that the waters around Dunfoss will be free of pirates soon.
Now,
and shipping would become more profitable from there.
Looking at Eldove's coin pouch, you could very easily establish your own vessel at Dunfoss. Something you could, like, purchase a vessel, hire men for it, hire a captain that could service as a trade route back and forth to Garen for wine or other goods. Like, just looking at the money you have, that's within your ability to do once you get back to Dunfoss and establish that. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be Tarin's ship doing it. Whether or not that venture would be profitable. Okay. Whether or not that would be profitable as a long-term venture, you haven't tried the wine yet.
Oh, is the wine really bad?
I mean, he says he can give you a sample.
I'll try it.
He pours a glass, and it's good. It's not as good as the wine the Sand Elves make in Kiska. It's not up to that level. It's not euphoric. It's exotic to your tongue. To you, it tastes like you're not sure that people would buy this on the open market. Like, people wouldn't be chugging this. They would be much more apt to buy the cheap stuff that you actually make there closer to Dunfoss. But you think there might be a connoisseur market for it. And the labeling looks quaint, but it also looks unique. You're on a shelf alongside many other wines. You think maybe a collector would be into this.
Okay.
You think you might be able to either find or create a small market for this wine, depending on what you can get it for.
All right, and do I know anything about any other things that are what else is produced in this part of the world? Because I mean, just shipping the wine might not be worth it, but if I can set up a route for wine and something else,
traveling down in south from here, along the ocean, you would be in Aqueous waters. If you were to establish any kind of presence with any of the underwater peoples there, they might have exotic goods that could be sold. As far as civilizations on land in Aqueous, there are not many.
I know someone who might be interested in doing that.
And then also from this area of the world, if you were to travel east, you would be in... What is happening on this map?
What was that?
It goes away now. Now nobody gets it. If you were to travel east from here, you would be in lands of hill dwarves, metalwork, weapons, armor, things like that. Anything the dwarves can produce can be had in this area if you were to travel east and meet with the dwarves.
Okay, so
the benefit to you is Dunfoss is very far away from dwarven lands, but you're much farther south, and the humans and the dwarves live much closer together in this area.
All right, so out of character, I don't have much idea what a good price would be to make this profitable. In character, do I have some sort of idea what I need to be able to buy this for?
If you could negotiate them down to about 50%, and if you bought a lot of bottles, if you were to buy, say, 100 or 200 bottles, they could sell them to you at half price, and then both of you could probably make a profit, provided you sell all of the wine when you return. Because, I mean, you can mark up the wine to however much you want. You can buy a bottle of wine here for 6 silver, take it up to Dunfoss and say, here's exotic wine from the far south, I'm charging a gold piece for it.
Yeah.
So you could clean up if you can sell the wine.
All right. I'll do that then. Because I don't really want to gouge this guy if I'm going to set up future relations with him.
Okay.
I want both of us to be happy.
Roll me a charisma check, just straight up charisma. This is something you're actually good at, so.
And now we became part of a pyramid scheme.
Hey, listen.
Every time Nodal says, hey, listen.
If you're at the top of the pyramid, nothing wrong with that.
How'd you do on that charisma?
That's a 13.
A 13? Okay. Bear with me just 1 second.
Oh no, that's a 13 if I add my proficiency. It's a 10 otherwise.
A 10 otherwise. Okay. They typically, as of now, they only produce enough wine for use in the village and some of the surrounding lands, and a little bit to ship out to the capital. They don't have the They don't have the stock or the turnaround yet in order to sell it to you for much below cost. They can sell it to you for 90% of the costs. So for a $12 bottle, that would be 10.8 silver.
All right. And this is just for this first shipment, right? This isn't for every shipment?
That's for the first shipment, and that's for their oldest vintage that they have in stock. Or that they have in stock in enough numbers to sell to you, I should say. But yeah, that's almost 11 silver. So that's a gold piece, 1 gold, 8 silver per.
1 gold, 8 silver per bottle?
Per bottle for a 5-year-old vintage, the one that you just tasted.
Alright, and I currently don't think that I could make any money if I bought that.
You could if you sold each bottle. If you went up and said, these are exotic wines, I can sell them to you for 2 gold pieces. Yeah, you could clean up if you did that. Especially if you could establish regular trade. I can't imagine this is too thrilling to watch for the people at home, but this is like the core of Eldove's character right now. He's trying to establish trade routes all over the world, which is why we're paying so close attention to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pay the money this time. But I'll say to him, but if I am able to establish a market, of course this is only for the first shipment. Future shipments will need to be in line with profit.
And he says, yes, of course.
Alright, then yeah, I shake his hand and I purchase the bottles.
Alright, you buying 1 or 200?
How many does he have?
He can sell you 200 bottles. Or the equivalent of 200 bottles. I mean, he'd be selling you in large kegs.
Alright, yeah, I'll buy 200 bottles.
Okay. So that's
The microbrewery on the
10.8
ship.
times 200.
Better not store those too close to the dragon powder.
That's 216 gold pieces.
Alright.
And he also supplies you with labels that you can apply to bottles of your own. And he asks if you're going to take the kegs now, or do you want them delivered up to your ship, or what?
I tell him that I need to speak with the captain right now, but I will probably send word to deliver them to the ship tomorrow.
Okay.
Or when we leave town, actually. There's no reason to deliver them there and then just have them sit in the harbor.
That's true. And also Fred would probably drink them all. No, Fred wouldn't do that. Alright, who's going to do something way more exciting? Because that was...
I don't think anybody could do anything more exciting. I'm confused.
Thinks so highly of himself.
I know, it's so adorable.
Tarin went to the urban spice shop. Oh, this will be exciting. This shit's all in the module, all of it.
Well, I was gonna say we could have Tarin's HR adventure as he tries to hire another female sailor.
HR adventures, yeah, that'd be amazing.
You approach the shop, you and Evander together, and the door is carved in the shape of a dragon with an open mouth. And next to the door is a sign hung outside, and it says, Hestal the Alchemist, by appointment only.
No. Well, I'll politely knock on the door. There's no obvious, like, you know, administrative assistant here ready to take an appointment, right?
Well, an old middle-aged woman with graying hair opens the door, and she looks at you, says yes.
My name's Captain Tarin. I would like to make an appointment to see the alchemist.
And she nods. She says, well, I'm Relba. I am Hestel's wife. I can set up an appointment for you. How soon were you looking to speak to him?
Tonight or tomorrow would be good, but no serious hurry.
She's well. The appointment fee is 1 gold piece, and he will be prepared to receive you tomorrow afternoon.
Do I pay that now?
You better, if you want to see him tomorrow afternoon.
I'll
Evander,
kinda look
his
at
face kind
Evander.
of squirrels up a little bit, like.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of exchange a look at Evander.
And yeah, his face kind of squirrels up in distaste a little bit, but he doesn't say or do anything. He's here with you.
I'll give her a gold piece. My curiosity is piqued.
Okay. And she asks, "May I ask what is the nature of the business you have with my husband?"
We're looking to resupply our ship. We have an alchemy lab.
And she nods.
Also interested in any local information we can get, on the local alchematical specialties.
Okay. You have a copy of the DMG, right?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Then she describes to you, she can make any common potion from the DMG.
Okay.
That's what Hestel can do, at a considerable markup.
Okay.
And he also has, if you didn't already have the alchemy equipment in your ship, you could also purchase it from him. But once she finishes explaining what her husband can do, and you're looking to resupply your ship, she thanks you for your time, and she closes the door in your face.
That's not normal, is it, Evander?
Evander says, an alchemist doing work in a small village like this? Not small, but unseemly, I'm sure you'll agree.
It seems like a lot of money for most of the common people to actually be able to afford to even speak to the guy.
He nods. He says, that was my impression as well. If this man's charging so much for his wares, who has use for them here anyway?
Yeah.
Well, in any event, I think we're pretty well stocked on the ship, unless there was something exotic you were looking for. Because I can make any of the potions that she mentioned.
Actually, yeah, let's get the supplies and get some healing potions. I think we're a little low on those.
Okay.
Check with Arvin.
Arvin was able to make one healing potion per 3 days worth of work.
Okay.
I'll say Evander can do a healing potion in 2 days.
Okay.
And other potions will have to scale up from there. We'll have to take on
Sure.
a case-by-case basis.
What sort of potions are common? Is it a very huge list, or
It's fairly small.
Destil has the DMG, and if he wants to actually transcribe a list of such potions, so people know it's available.
Mostly I'm curious because I had that climbing potion earlier, and that was pretty awesome. I didn't know if I could get another one of those, or if that's uncommon.
I'm looking right now.
Okay.
But I can put it down in the notes. What's the cost on these to have Evander make them?
It'll depend on the potion.
Okay.
Orphan.
Yeah.
Walking down the waterfront. First, let me see what those buildings are. Let's see what you're walking past. You're like 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay. These are cottages and boathouses where the fishermen of the village live. All the men are gone for the day. They've gone out into the lake for the day's trade. Most of the wives are here tending the houses. Children are out playing in the streets. Roll a perception check. DC 15. I'm sorry, 16.
Okay. So perception plus 2. That's a 10.
A 10? A dirty man bumps into you. You look over at him, and it's just this wretch of a man. Like, he's just dressed, kind of tattered clothes, no shoes. His feet are just calloused and bruised and blackened with soot. Kind of like a Dickensian kind of thing happening here. And he bumps into you, and a million pardons, miss, as he scurries down the road.
I say, my pardon to you as well.
That's it. Other than that, unless you're going to have a, chat up any of the women folk here down at the docks. Or play with the children. I mean, people, in general, people don't like the look of you.
Yeah, I'll see if the kids want to play anything. What are they playing? Just like some ball games or something?
They're just running up and down the street, running this dog ragged. And they shy away from you.
Mm-hmm.
They try to keep their distance. And about 5 or 6 minutes after you have the run-in with the man, as you're coming down around this curve, down here, you hear a slap on your butt. You feel it. And when you turn, one of the young kids is running away from you as fast as he can, like bat out of hell. And he's yelling at another group of kids who are whooping and hollering a few houses down. He's yelling, "I did it! I did it! You owe me a copper!"
Oh.
"You said you'd give me a copper if I touched the demon woman!" And he rejoins the group and they retreat from you.
I'm gonna make I'm gonna use thaumaturgy to make the sound of thunder appear over the boy's head.
There we go.
He screams, drops to the ground, like drops prone, laying on the ground with his hands over his head, and he looks like he peeks out under his hand. What are you doing after you make the sound?
I just smile at him.
What's the intent of the smile?
It just like oh, naughty kid, naughty boy.
Change the colors of your eyes.
Oh, you.
When that happens, he starts, like, the other kids disperse. Like, they scatter behind various houses and whatnot. This actually might be a statue right here that you just walked past. Let me double check. I just noted that. Yeah, that's a statue of Zerbo, the god of life in the seas. I have no idea what Zerbo looks like. I'm going to assume he's some kind of disgusting-looking fish man. But yeah, the kids scatter. One of them ducks back behind the statue. A couple of them duck up into the yards of the cottages. The one you made the thunder appear over, like, he starts shrieking like, I'm sorry! I don't need no copper!" And he darts back behind one of the houses.
Alright.
Yeah, you're still a tiefling. People still don't like you.
Do we all hear the thunder?
How loud is that thunder?
Yeah.
It's probably don't think it's that loud. I'm gonna look up the thaumaturgy spell, but I don't think it's super loud.
Well, that's a very simple A. Yes, McClain, you're in luck. Climbing is a common potion, but B, it's the only other common potion.
Oh.
Really?
Yep.
Just
List the uncommon ones then. Let me see if the uncommon ones are good.
uncommon potions are in Mumble.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncommon. Oh,
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, they actually, I didn't realize this, but it specifically says, such as a rumble of thunder.
Yeah.
So,
So,
an instantaneous sound.
anyone else outside, you heard the distant rumble of thunder, but, like, the sky is very clear. There's no weather today. It's sunny, a little cool because you're so far south, but it doesn't look like it's about to rain. So those of you who are outside are like, oh, okay, so Orphan's off doing something.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, no. Orphan up, no good.
Eric,
Yes.
did you pay for a midday meal? Did you order food here at the tavern?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's 2 silver pieces.
Done.
When you return, one of the boys comes out, delivers your meal to you, accepts your money. The barkeep you saw last night is not here. But the owner of the inn, Abraham, for whom the inn is named, I decided his name is Abraham Bartholomew.
Okay.
He's here. And he's got graying brown hair, and like one of those like thin, like waxed, like pencil mustaches that people like have to fidget with a lot to make sure it stays straight. He has one of those. He's wearing a decorated red leather vest over his apron and trousers. And he's wearing heavy iron bands on his wrists. He has a long sword at his side and a big soulful belly. He's middle-aged. He looks to be pushing 50. And he's arguing
Okay.
with a half-orc. And this would be strange to you. Because, first of all, seeing a half-orc at all is extremely strange.
Right.
Usually in this area of the world where you're from, orcs have been pushed back to the fringes. And any time an orc mates with somebody... Mates, that's a very polite way to put the way an orc actually procreates. But no matter what the orc mates with, it produces a half-orc. But these half-orcs are shunned by society. They do not integrate with human society very well. So most of them stay on with their orc tribes. But this particular half-orc, he's wearing green colors. He's wearing a green, like a dark green cloak. He's got green leather armor on. He's not wielding, he has 2 short swords hanging at his sides. And his face has many piercings. He has several just pierced iron rings going around his ears, 1 or 2 in his lip, 1 up in his nostril. And he's arguing with Abraham, and where you start to follow the argument, it's Abraham saying, "Even if we served your kind here, I don't have any rooms to sell you. You're all occupied. Do you understand? Occupied." The orc says, "I don't need much. Put me in the stable, if you will." He's slapping coin down on the counter. "It's just for a few nights. My business will be concluded. I'll be on my way. You're going to make me sleep in the streets?" Abraham says, "The streets of our town is more than what you deserve." And it goes back and forth like this as you're eating your bread and meat.
Oh, do I want to get involved in this?
Getting a roommate.
Do I want to get involved in this? Do I want to get involved in this?
Yes.
You always want to get involved in this.
You hear the voice of Osprey. You want to get involved in this.
I get up from the table and I say, "What's going on here?" Not without as much cowardice in my voice, obviously.
And Abraham regards you. "Good afternoon, friend. I was just seeing the orc here out." And at this, the half-orc, like, he grimaces a little. You see his face kind of flash with anger, but he remains composed. You don't see any of, like, the rage. Like, he's not going to fly off into a fury the way orcs are known to do.
Mm-hmm.
The half-orc collects himself, looks you up and down, turns to leave. Perception check.
Alright.
DC 10.
Yep.
Made it?
13 plus 7 is 20.
That's a lot. Okay. Abraham's wearing this leather vest. And you see that he's missing his top button.
Alright, I point at the top button and I sort of shrug, like,
So I don't know. Wasn't there when I went to put on my vest this morning. Must have come off in the wash or something. I'll have somebody mend it tonight. So, how are you finding my establishment, friend? Always, good to provide food and housing for the Brothers of Osprey.
Yes, of course. The half-orc that was just in here is not good enough? Did he do something wrong?
Not sure about him, but his mother or father did, I'll tell you that. And he slaps you on the shoulder and starts laughing. Something very wrong indeed, if you take my meaning.
Oh no.
Oh god, I'm awful good. I should do something. I really don't want to.
Now, I should say, like I mentioned, this is not uncommon treatment of half-orcs.
I know.
This is the kind of treatment he could expect probably in any human establishment in this area of the world. If you were to travel 2 days north, you would meet villages that are raided regularly by orcs and their like.
Sure, but I just came from a village that had slavery in it, and I sort of went,
They didn't have any enslaved half-orcs, though.
Yeah, there were no half-orcs enslaved.
Fucking moral dilemma bullshit. I have a solution. No, that's not a good solution at all. I run outside and chase after the half-orc for a little bit.
go outside after the half-orc?
Yeah.
And you find him just outside the inn, leaning up against the outer wall. He's lighting a pipe. And he sees you approach. And he just nods at you. But does not say anything.
You're looking for a room to stay, I gather?
You kind of piqued his interest a little bit. He nods. Says, I'll only be here long enough to charter a ship to take it onto the lake. After that, I'll be gone from this place.
You need a ship? Why?
Zook.
Yeah.
Does anybody else in the group... Actually, I don't need to ask you. I don't need to ask you shit. Why don't you just sit back down?
Okay.
Arik.
Yes.
On the inside of his cloak, which he has thrown over one shoulder to so he can light his pipe, on the inside of it, you see a small patch. Not even a patch, really. It's just white thread done in a particular design that you've seen in Kiska. You know this design to be the Kiskan Guild of Shadows.
Oh.
I guess I do need to add, Zook, have you ever shared the patch with anybody else in the group? Does anybody else know you're affiliated?
Well,
if so,
Khalil
Arik would know
that he's affiliated because he was the one that was sent with Khalil to do the thing in the pyramid.
yeah, they would know that I'm in some way connected to the Guild of Shadows.
Okay. Then yeah, you know that Zook is a member of the guild in Kiska, but this is... Other than Zook, you're not sure you've ever encountered this particular design outside of Kiska. And there were certainly no orcs anywhere in Romneus that you've ever heard of.
Sure. I try to nonchalantly say, "Oh, I've seen that patch before. One of my crewmate, one of the crewmates I travel with has it."
When you mention the patch,
very nonchalantly,
he closes his cloak up. He's a member of your crew, eh?
Well, fellow crewman, I should say.
He's on that boat in the harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So what's his name?
Keep sending bad news my way all day, aren't you?
I might be. I might be.
I love it.
He goes
Lots
by the
of
name
bullshit.
Zook.
Zook. Sounds gnomish to my ears.
It's because he is a gnome.
Quite like gnomes. You know you can always trust a gnome, don't you?
Sure. Yes.
Says, he'd be at your boat now. Could you take me to him?
I think he's not on the. I think he's around the village as of right now. We can try to find him. I say, trying to be helpful.
He nods. It's very well.
So I'm traveling with a half-orc.
And he snuffs his pipe, puts it back in one of his pouches, reaches out his hand, says, I'm Block.
Arik. I'm gonna shake it.
And he gives you a very firm handshake, the kind that rattles inside of your arm.
I bet he does.
He tells you he's a ranger by trade. He does scouting missions and the like, making sure that various unsundry humanoid parties, orcs, goblins, kobolds, and whatnot stay away from civilized places. And he tells you he's very used to the cold reception that he receives when he comes into the towns. He also tells you the feeling's very much mutual. I don't like being here as much as they want me here.
You hunt other orcs then?
He says if they pose a threat to the people, I do.
Interesting.
I think we should probably do Zook last, because I feel like Zook's going to have a lot of interesting things.
My connection to
this
Mumble
half-orc
dropped
guy.
out for some damn reason.
Oh, I'm escorting a half-orc around town.
Yes,
no
he
big
is.
thing.
No big whoop, huh?
No big whoop.
A
Now,
half orc who is looking for Zook.
As
He
opposed to
seems
the other
friendly so
guy I
far.
sent Zook. As opposed to the other guy I sent towards Zook.
Yeah, I'm about to go down to his giggle dungeon, it sounds like, so that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, it's sounding pretty giggle dungeon to me, the rope maker guy.
That's one of the changes I made to the module. Is like half of the castle guards are half orcs, and I'm like, no, that's not going to work. They're humans now. So, Khalil,
Yo.
How close did you get to the castle?
I'll be right back.
Put yourself at the closest approach you made to the castle. Because this is the base of the hill, and from here it's a long walk up to the castle.
Probably about here, just kind of just hanging out.
Okay, then you can see the castle far away in the distance, and between you and the castle you see a statue, the third statue in town. This statue is to the god of war of the Pantheon, Cord.
Okay.
What is that
seems
building you're standing
vaguely
near?
interesting. That seems vaguely interesting. I'd probably head up that way.
And this is a horse ranch. Right here. 41.
Yeah, not as interested in horse ranch.